You had mentioned earlier that you really got involved because you really wanted to give back. Let's just look at it from the other way. If you don't win this election, do you think you'd be interested in doing other things in the city or giving back in other ways?
Definitely, definitely.
What sort of things?
Well, depends upon their needs. I know there are a lot of committees and a lot of groups that work on the outside of city council and outside of the city to help them get their information to make decisions. And I would not be against doing something where I felt I fit in and could help.
Why do you think it is they have so much trouble getting people to participate?
Well, it's a great paying job. I think $25 a meeting. As I said earlier, that's something I'd like to see changed. I'd like to see the city council being paid professionals. I'd also like to see, and this probably goes against state constitution, and we don't want to mess with the Constitution because we see how well that's going in Washington. But I would look into the possibilities with the city attorney and the county attorney of maybe merging some of the offices and the facilities. For instance, the city has a good garage, but they have poor road equipment, not poor, but not as good a road equipment as the county. The county has good road equipment, but they don't have a garage. Why can't we kind of work them together there? Again, going back to the convention center, the county has offered to cooperate with the ag bond to put the facility there. Now, you're right between downtown and the airport. And if the city's going to grow, the airport's going to be a factor in it. It's a regional airport. If you put the convention center, tie it in with the ag bond, which needs some work and they plan on doing some renovations and expansion, you have a savings of expenditures there by combining services. There are things that can be done to help the city grow. I don't know all the answers. I know very few of them, but I would like to work with the city. I would like to work with the people who vote, and we don't have a lot of those here. We have a lot of people, but we don't have a lot of voters. The voter turnout is pretty pathetic at times.
Where do you think that is?
Apathy, not the right information, no incentive to get out and vote. But it's not just here in Kerrville. It's a lot of places. If you have a big important race, you get a big turnout.
You said that you feel like the city does a poor job of communicating to residents, and I'm assuming that you did receive as much information as you would like to about particular issues. What would you suggest, and what might you do as a council member to provide that information to the public and to help facilitate better communication?
Well, we have the wonderful internet. We have Facebook. We have Twitter and Twang and all of those things that I'm not really familiar with, but there are wonderful means of communications available. And I realize that not everyone has a computer, and many people in this city are not computer literate. So that's not the whole answer. But you guys can help. I'll tell you one thing I don't like, the sports section. You know why? We've got 3 golf courses here in this town. You never, ever give us the results. Maybe a picture of somebody winning the Masters. But we don't know who won last week. We don't know what they made. We don't know who won on the Champions Tour. And that's all available. I've seen that in newspapers. It comes from the AP, I guess. It's take about another 3 columns in your paper. Give us a little help on that.
You must be a golfer.
I don't need a caddy when I golf. I need an accountant to keep my score.
Sounds like you and I can play the same game. Talking about economic development, how do you see City Council's role in economic development and working with the foundation that's been reorganized?
I'm not familiar with the foundation and how it's been reorganized, so I really can't speak to that at this time.
Okay.
But naturally, I would look into it and I would work with the group. I'd work with people. I like some of the things that David Wampler said last night at the forum. I think that I could work with him with no problem. Of course, we'd have differences on some opinions, some issues, but we'd work those out.
On the topic of economic development, a lot of people have said Kerrville's kind of at a crossroads. They need to decide what kind of community they want to be. When you look at that question, what kind of community do I want Kerrville to be? What comes to mind when you think of Kerrville 5, 10, 20 years from now?
Well, right now I look at all of the vacant buildings, the retail and commercial space available. It's pretty frightening. In my neighborhood, we rode around a couple months ago and counted 53 homes for sale. I don't know where the people are going, whether, you know, a lot of them are elderly and some are passing away, but I don't think 53 fit into that category. The food and service industry here lacks a lot to be desired. As I said earlier, you can't go out to eat if you work late. You can't go out to eat and find a place where you can get a variety of services. Downtown needs revitalization, but it needs to be cleaned up first. If you notice lately, letters to the editor, people are writing and saying, the doctor, that, you know, I thought Kerrville would be the place for me to live. He says, but going back through there and looking at it and seeing how it's becoming dirtier, lackadaisical in the upkeep, I think that if we clean up the city, which isn't a major overhaul, which won't cost a lot of money, we have the staff, why not have the sheriff put his prisoners out there and have them do work rather than sit in an air-conditioned cell all day, if that's what they do. That's a way that could be helped. We have a recycling station here that I went there a couple of weeks ago to dispose of some batteries and some of the Al Gore light bulbs, I call them. Well, we can't take those today. You have to come back May 1st. I don't know what dates are available other than May 1st. I asked when or where else could I take them? Oh, you can't, you have to bring them here. So supposing somebody wants to do that and they're not available on May 1st, they might be in Fredericksburg working or down in Hunt working or so forth. How do you get rid of them? Well, a lot of people, you know what they do? You go back and throw them in garbage because they don't want to be working for the city. The city's supposed to be working for them. We have trash pickup once a week. I have seen 15 bags of dry leaves piled next to a neighbor's house. Someone carelessly threw a cigarette down in the dry grass, and it caught the grass fire, and it went right up to the house. Fortunately, those bags of leaves were on the opposite side of the house, or he would have lost that house. And I'll tell you who the house belonged to. Then serving Mayor Gene Smith, who lives across the street from me. So we need to look at the city services, and I know that you can't increase services without increasing taxes. That's the age-old saying, but I don't fully believe that. I believe you can be innovative, you can cooperate, and you can make things happen if you think outside the box, as the catchphrase goes.